In this session, our Managing Director, Kevin Harrison, discusses the implications of Brexit on business travel and brings us up to speed on key points which you may need to be aware of when travelling regularly for business.
I'm sure many people will be aware of the points regarding passports, but it's really vital in that the key message here is that your passport must have or can't have any more than 10 years validity from the date of issue is what will be accepted when you're travelling to the EU. So previously, if you renewed your passport before the expiry date, you may have had maybe 10 years and 3 months, 10 years and 4 months. Only the 10 years from date of issue will be recognised. On top of that, you also need to make sure that you have 3 months validity left on your passport from the intended date of departure from the EU back to the UK. So really what that means is that for the date that you're due to travel back, you must have at least 9 years and 9 months left on your passport. We always recommend to everybody keep 6 months, don't cut it down to chance, but it is an important point. New passports being issued now are done for 10 years from the date of issue, as opposed to adding on any additional time that was for expiry. In terms of entry requirements, I'll go into a little bit more detail on that, but there are situations where you may need to have a visa or a work permit. You will find that as you're transiting, either going through passport control or connecting through EU airports, you can't use the electronic lanes as we did previously. You will need to go through the normal passport control. And also, if traveling to Ireland, for example, is making sure that you have full passport, whereas in the past there were instances for some travel on ferries and certain things where photo ID was accepted. What I would say, there are some variations to rules in some EU countries or those who are sort of part member states of the EU. So it's important just to check sort of all of those as you're working through them. So whether you may need a visa or work permit, the main criteria is that you do need to have 90, you can travel for up to 90 days in a 180-day period. So bear in mind that also includes maybe any holiday stays as well. So business meetings and sales activity qualifies as part of the agreement, but there could be some instances whereby some work isn't covered under that. Or if you are a very regular traveller, offshore worker, etc., that may have an implication, and it does mean you may need to look at whether you need posted worker status or a work permit. So do sort of validate that. And as I say, some countries have slight variations to it, so it is important to sort of look at that if you're actually not going to be doing physical work as you're in the EU. And preparing for travel, the healthcare situation, and we'd recommend applying for the global health insurance card now, which is much more straightforward to have that one. The EU medical cards, although these can be used till expiry, they are being replaced. Driving in the EU is permitted as long as you have the photo license. If you have, anybody still has the old style paper license, you do need to get that updated or apply for an international driving permit. Mobile phone charges, which were things that we did sort of see some disruption initially, in the majority, unless you've got long sort of term work over in the EU, the contracts do allow for short-term travelling. But again, if you're a regular traveller or sort of a commuter traveller, do check on that. And finally, passenger rights. The UK has aligned itself with the EU to continue all passenger protections for international travel. However, it is expected that the CAA will review the package travel regulations at some stage, although I would state that generally business travel doesn't fall under that. That's very much more for holiday travel. So in summary, on that, there's a lot more depth and information relating to the impact of Brexit on travelling, and really, it's all very much possible. It's just making sure that you keep awareness of some things that we may have assumed that were easy to do before, and we do need to check that. So there is a free guide available, which is available from our website, or if you contact us. Just sort of referring back to the poll earlier, it's good to see the majority of people are already travelling or are planning to travel in the near future. So that's sort of positive to see, and it is very much sort of reflective of what we're seeing, sort of on the ground, in that, so now we're sort of reaching levels at the business travel sector of sort of 70–80% of where it was, and very much moving forward.